Hello and welcome to the Sugar-Coated Marketing Podcast. I am David Paris, your host, and in this podcast series, I interview top experts who give their advice on subjects like marketing, copywriting, and a hint of self-development. Today, we have an incredible interview lined up with Mitch Miller from Opposed Media. If you don't know who Mitch is, you can check out his website, opposedmedia.com, or check out his book, Consulting Exposed. And in this interview, Mitch shares with us how to become a celebrity in your market. How did you end up doing what you're doing now? I know from reading a little bit of your book, you're in a band and you toured in Canada nationally, but you had a life-altering event where you almost died. Is that what prompted you to get into copywriting, and it seemed like that was kind of a breaking point for you?
That's what prompted me to get into business. And it wasn't even I never even had a breaking point. I had like multiple breaking points. So because the heart attack was like, okay, that's when I want to change myself. But I still had so much work to do to become the person properly able to do business that there was so many other breaking points. But that was the first breaking point. So I said, okay, I got to change something. I want to do business. I didn't know anything about business. I didn't even know where to fucking look. I didn't know where to go. First person I came across, it's a little foggy now. I'm pretty sure it was Robert Kiyosaki. I think it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was the book where basically he's like, you don't have to be the same kind of person. You can actually, you can build wealth, you can do business, you can do all these things basically. And so that, I believe that was the first book, but very shortly after, like within a month or two, it was some Tony Robbins program. And then I was like, oh, okay. And they were saying the same stuff. And it was Tony Robbins basically who was the gateway to all of this type of stuff, because what he did was he had this interview series back in the 90s called Power Talk. And every month he would interview someone who's like some expert in some other different vocation. And he interviewed Jay Abraham, who do you know Jay?
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
Yeah. So Jay is just a beast. And so basically Jay was like, he just changed my life. It blew my mind. And so like there's a story about him making so much damn money off of just changing a headline for somebody. I think it was like he got like $50,000 a month for 18 months straight just for changing a headline for somebody because of the profits pulled in. And I thought, what the fuck? Like, especially my the way I still was, I was so magic pill thinking that I thought, wow, if all I have to do is write a sentence and I could make 50 grand a month for 18 months and just sit back, like, I would be like a god. I'd be like this warlord. And so but basically that's what the Jay Abraham got me going. And he talked about copywriting, and then John Carlton. And then you go down the rabbit hole of self-development in general. And I went down hard, like Wayne Dyer, Robert and Anton Wilson, Richard Bandler, NLP, like just literally I was craving anything I could get my hands on. And so copywriting was never like a main focus for me until maybe 2 years ago, when I realized I actually really had a natural kind of talent for, or natural inclination for it. And I could just take it and kind of roll with it. But I'd studied it, but I'd never really tried to do it for maybe until a couple of years ago.
So when you did get into trying some stuff, I would assume that like most beginner copywriters, you had to get your stripes in, but what prompted you to continue with it? Because it is a pretty cutthroat industry, and it's not really necessarily an easy business to market yourself in. Unless you're doing the right thing. So like, why continue with it?
The short answer is that I had this, because I had like such a huge breaking point a couple of years ago when I was like working for the city. I was working for my city, a local town, watering trees like 12 hours a day, listening to all these fucking programs and all these seminars that I've listened to a million times before. And just finally having a breaking point saying, I can't fucking handle this anymore. And then I quit. And I said, I'm going to make this damn thing, because I knew that copywriting is like the skill. That's like the magic skill. It's like, that's what makes everything work. It's like funnels, fucking useless without copy. Facebook ads, useless without the words inside of it. So I knew that copywriting was the answer. And I wanted to do it for other people because I didn't quite have enough self-confidence to do it for my own stuff and build my own business. I was like, I can't do all that. I'm not capable, but I could just write for some people. And since I believe that you can't be a good copywriter, or you're not a good copywriter if you can't write yourself to get work, then you're probably not a good enough copywriter. I don't necessarily believe that's true. What I believe is true is that you maybe don't have the confidence to do it, but copywriting is all about confidence, because there's some writers who just aren't that technically good, but they're just so damn confident that their writing works, even though it's sloppy and stuff. Kind of like maybe like some of these old circus guys like Barnum and Bailey and stuff like that. It's not like they're expert copywriters, but they're just such damn confident promoters that their stuff worked anyway. Cause it's like, wow, who talks like that? It's so confident. Like Trump. It's like, Trump's a great copywriter, but like, you know, as far as like actually following the sales letter formula or something, he's not that good, but damn, do people believe him because of the confidence he exudes. So when I hit my breaking point and I said, I don't care, whatever it takes, I'm going to make this work. And I quit my city job. I just decided that my copy and everything that I say is going to have that 100% level of conviction to it, because I realized that like, if I don't have that, then people are only going to feel what you allow, what you write. So if you write with 100% conviction, then people will feel comfortable in that conviction, and then they'll feel comfortable enough to trust and kind of put their trust in you and all that. So that was a big turning point for me, was realizing that the confidence is what allows the writing to actually work.
Definitely. And I mean, from following your stuff for a while, I can definitely see that in all of your promotions and all the stuff you do with the opposed group. And it's clear that you say it with conviction and 100% confidence.
You got to be careful not to be arrogant. Like, I've turned off so many people because it's a fine line between sounding like a dick. Right.
I mean, I think it depends on the market too, because there's a good side and bad side to that, because you do turn away a lot of the people that you don't necessarily want to work with, that waste your time. But to get back to more meat and potatoes stuff, one of the main questions I wanted to ask you was, as far as branding goes, and you've already touched on this a little bit going into confidence, but if someone is looking to build a brand or grow their brand, like not just as a copywriter, but any business, what are some tips and suggestions that you would give them on how to do that?
You need to become a celebrity to your market. That's the thing. It's like, you can know your stuff all you want, but if you're not a celebrity to them, then no one's going to pay attention. I mean, it's all about this, especially the internet marketing game here. It's all about the celebrity. And so the first thing I would do if I hadn't done it already is I would write a book and get that thing up on Amazon.com as fast as humanly possible. As soon as you're an author, interviews come in, news comes in, everyone, including your own grandmother, thinks you're the next big thing in business. I mean, it's funny because if you're in our industry, it's like, okay, if you're an author, it's like, big fucking deal, you're an author. But to the rest of the world, including everyone that you are pretty much selling to, they believe that, you know, if you have a book, then you are an absolute expert on that subject. And that's the first thing to be a celebrity, I believe, is having that book and people knowing you're an author. And then also, I would really see a lot of this is simply just being clear on what kind of, because Frank Kern said it like years and years ago to Joe Polish on, it was an interview that they did together. You can find on YouTube for his Genius Network. And he says, my personality is just an exaggerated version of myself. And it's also what the personality which my market wishes they could be. I thought that was interesting. I was like, well, isn't he not being authentic? Is he not being real? It's like, oh, well, he's actually he's doing what he understands showmanship. And if you remember, like, John Carlton talks huge about showmanship. A lot of the copywriters talk about showmanship in their writing and stuff like that. Well, if you're selling yourself, You got to put showmanship in yourself. That's why some of these guys will wear stupid like top hats, and some of these guys have like purple hair and stuff like that. Some of these marketers, it's like you could that works, that showmanship, because you got to be remembered for something. You know, the plain, it's like you want to be basically the more you can think about what a rock star would do to get attention and look famous, the closer you'll get to figuring out how to brand yourself. Costumes matter, right? It's like Superman doesn't work if he's in jeans and t-shirt. There's got to be, the costume matters. What you don't say matters. Like I will never carry, you won't see me carrying a backpack around to a seminar that I'm putting on, because if I do, then someone else is carrying it. You know, I mean, the little things matter to making you seem like a rock star. And that's why I think the band stuff helped me back in the day, because I learned what not to do. I'm like, oh, I know that you don't want to be seen before the show. I know that you don't want to be seen taking your instruments and off the stage after the show. You want other people to do that for you. And so really, it sounds almost ridiculous, but those little details about how you're perceived by everyone, those matter.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But it really is more, you need to be the character to the audience that you want to attract based off research.
Yeah, you're 100% right though. Like the word character is very, very on point. It's got to be something that's close enough to your own personality so that you can live with it.
Yeah, you know, the other thing too is I don't really think, to a large extent, I don't think that that's something that can be faked. I think there are very few people that can fake something like that, and we'd probably label them as psychopaths. Right,
because you can't go full Jim Carrey and like completely act something out. I mean, that would just get tiring. So so you're right. It really helps if you are your market, which I am. You know, I buy every course known to man still, and you know what I mean. Like I am my market, so that helps. I guess it allows me to be a more ridiculous version of myself sometimes.
As far as that character goes, is there a specific channel? And obviously it still goes back to, you know, what your audience wants and where they hang out. But is there a specific channel that you should pick to market to, or does it really just depend on research, or what are your thoughts on that?
It just depends where they are and where they spend most of their time. You know, it's where they're hanging out the most, and a lot of it too. Like for me, I shouldn't necessarily just be only on Facebook, which I am. However, I should probably be on Snapchat too. I just don't really care to do that yet, although that's probably where I should be. And it also depends on your personality. I'm not the kind of guy, like if you know Dan Meredith, I'm not the kind of guy to post a picture about my life every 3 seconds and be like a social media whore like he is. It works for him. That's totally cool, but that doesn't fit my personality. So it also has to fit your personality and how you want to do things. You know, so first of all, yeah, bare minimum, they got to be there. But then at the same time, you decide how you want to do it, whether you want to just one post a week, whether or not, whatever you can choose, you can do it however you want. As long as if your stuff's so on point and your character's awesome, people will be dying to see you. Even if you did one long form post per week when they opt into something or whatever, and that was your only thing, people would be totally down for that, because there's enough distraction and clutter. They don't need you every day. I mean, if you're super on point, you can do that if you want to. So it depends on how you want to be too. Cause like a lot of people don't want to be like this extroverted, like out there all the time, fucking here's what I had for breakfast type thing in order to market yourself. And you don't have to. I hate that people think you have to do that.
Yeah. It's catered to your audience and what they want and what networks they're on. But at the same time, being true to yourself. And I think that's really crucial when it comes to branding. One of the last things I wanted to ask you is, I know you have some up and coming stuff that you're going to be releasing soon. Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So it's called the Penthouse experience, and I'm not going to sell it here, but I will tease a little bit of excitement of it. It's the most exciting thing I've ever done. The first time I ever taught copywriting for real was in Thailand just a couple of weeks ago. We did 5 days straight of copywriting stuff, and it was insane. It was mind blowing. And we decided to put together an entire copywriting experience. So we have 18 Penthouse sessions, which is just like actual nuts and bolts of sales letters from start to finish. And then not only that, we then have all these crazy bonuses. Like you get the recordings from the Thailand event. We did like a midnight 3-hour session on just on positioning. We had Jason Hornung, who they now manage like $1.5 million a month in ad spend. So he gives us what he's learned that's worked for copy for his ads. He did like a presentation. We got like t-shirts, tickets, free tickets to an event. We have like just all these crazy bonuses, and it's basically going to tear the industry apart. And if I've done my job correctly, it will just be one of the most exciting things that everyone's ever seen. And if it bombs, then I might have to rethink my career.
Sounds awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show, Mitch, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you soon. I'll hit you up on a message.
Sounds good.
Thanks, David.